Welcome back to another episode of the Wrinkly Brain Podcast. This is a Smooth Brain EDH affiliated podcast where we like to goof, gaff, and talk about the Commander format. I'm your host Jason, joined today by my lovely co-hosts Ethan and Cameron.
Hello.
Howdy.
Alright, our main topic today. It's been a long time coming. It's all about lore! So we're just going to talk about the Magic story.
My ears, Jason. Thank you.
Jason's lore corner got its own episode.
Yeah, we couldn't find enough ways to get it in there.
Yeah, I think we had it as a segment like 2 or 3 times. Now it's just like, Jason just wants to talk about lore, so we're like, let's devote an episode to it.
And the other thing is, like, there's a lot of good lore in Magic, and there's a lot of, like, excellent world building. We'll talk a little bit of, like, worlds versus stories and our preferences on that. But Magic does a pretty good job with its fiction overall. So it's cool to talk about. I think it's that little bit of flavor that makes the game so extra interesting. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Let's talk about favorite characters. Let's start out with our heroes. Give me somebody that you love. A good hero.
I'm going to be the vanilla answer and say Gideon.
Gideon.
Wow, I found the straight white male.
I don't know. When you think hero, you think Gideon?
Yeah, he's kind of the generic good guy.
Yeah. What was it? There was a joke I was going to make, but I forgot, so continue.
Darn.
Just like we all talk about Gideon, because he's died. Ooh.
I mean, yeah, he's our... He is our tragic hero, or Greek hero, right? In both the literary sense and the literal sense.
Is Angrath a hero?
No.
Dang. We'll talk about him next. Well, he just wanted to go home, right? I think I read that.
He just wanted to go home.
Yeah, he wanted to go home to see his children. Yes, but
he's the hero of his own story.
Look, let's not change the fact that this is the Murder Minotaur. All right,
justice for the Murder Minotaur.
Justice for the. That's our next hashtag on Twitter. Justice for the Murder Minotaur.
The guy on Reddit that makes Minotaur set reviews.
Yes, love that
guy. Oh man,
he is the hero of our story.
Is anyone truly a hero?
No,
Gideon,
but
I don't know. Like, I just want to talk about Dak Faden. That's all I want to talk about. Because
we'll get there when we get there.
We'll talk about Dak in a minute.
Well, like, who are the heroes of the Magic story? It's the Gatewatch General Ajani, I guess, before he got yeeted.
Yes,
Ajani.
Yeah, there's a lot of good heroes. Right, you want to go way back in the olden days, you can go and talk about like the 9 Titans and fighting against Phyrexia. You can go and talk about Gerard Capuchin, or
I was going to mention Gerard,
the Weatherlight crew, Joyra,
the Weatherlight. Yeah.
From a card design perspective, probably Joyra. I just like her card designs, but like from a story perspective, I explain me Gerard a little bit more. I know some. I want to learn. Just give me like the quick overview on Gerard, right?
The Capuchin
Is that
family.
possible?
Okay. Yeah, no, it's possible. So Gerard Capuchin is the result of Urza doing eugenics experiments.
That's what I thought.
So he created, I can't remember the name of the project, but he created magical beings that were capable of fighting against Phyrexia. This was all in preparation for an eventual Phyrexian invasion, or to fight against them one day. Gerard is the pinnacle of that. And that's why the storyline with Gerard, where Gerard, leading the Weatherlight crew and fighting against everything that was going on with during the Phyrexian invasion, and eventually comes to the point where he has to fight against Urza. That was like poetic in a sense, because it's fighting your creator.
Okay.
By the way, Urza is not a hero. Fuck off with that shit.
I was going to say, can we count Urza?
Apologies, it's not 5 minutes yet, but fuck off with that shit.
Okay, so like the Brothers War seemed to really Teferi for sure.
I like Teferi.
Brothers War seemed to really kind of shine Urza in a more positive light. Are we forgetting about the old stuff, or are we going with the retcon nowadays, Magic story wise?
Honestly, so old Brothers War storyline views Urza very positively. The newer side stories that we got from Brothers War do not view Urza positively at all.
Okay, so it's much more realistic to the genocide and the selfishness of his character.
Yeah.
Okay.
His horrible character and how he mistreated all the people around him, how he would abuse every relationship he had to increase his strength and his capabilities. So Urza's not a good dude.
I mean,
interesting protagonist, but not a good person.
I mean, when you think of the protagonists of Magic, he's kind of up there, right? Like he has
he's
several
a face.
sets named after him.
He's a face for the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Very...
Like if you make a theoretical Mount Rushmore of Magic, I would think, like, not necessarily based on how good or bad they are, just how their notoriety. Urza's definitely there.
No, Urza and Teferi are probably the two easy. Jace gets up there. Gideon would deserve a spot on that mountain.
3 of them are blue mages.
All of them are blue-white currently.
I was gonna say 3 of them are just white guys. So like, that's
yeah.
Is Jaya a hero?
Jaya also has a good spot. Yeah, there's a good argument that Jaya or Chandra deserves a spot on that mountain too. Karn also deserves a spot, but
yes. Slowbad deserves a spot. He sacrificed his spot.
You're right.
Yeah, Slowbad.
Slowbad's the hero.
Can I give some justice for my little goblin boy?
No, he's Phyrexia now.
Excuse me, Ethan.
I'm mad about that still.
The real hero, Ethan, is the guy on the curio vendor art.
Dude, have we talked about the curio vendor thing yet?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, so Cameron and I and Logan roomed together freshman year of college. They got me into Magic. Woo. They ruined my life. Anyway,
Go us.
We went down to our LGS, and they had like 1,000 bulk cards for $10. And so we thought, oh, wow, 1,000 cards. There should be some good stuff in here. So Jason, your former employer, sold us a bunch of bulk cards. And we had about 60 curio vendors in my box. So we just started taking them. We started pinning them to the walls of our apartment on campus, just with thumbtacks. So we St. Petered one.
I forgot about that.
How could you forget about the St. Peter?
I just remember they were up in that the one that was St. Petered was there for a while. I think it was there.
That was there for
year.
months, probably until we moved out.
Jesus Christ, man.
We also had a Scraggy on our fridge. Another TCG, sorry, but we had a Scraggy card on our fridge that we would fucking yeet at each other. I remember it was in a fucking hard plastic thing, and we would just like.
Just throw at each other.
But man, who doesn't love a vanilla 2/1 for 2 mana?
Kira Vendor is the best hero of Magic the Gathering. I will stand on this hill.
He is selling us goods.
Self-assembler. I had like 37 copies of that card too.
Y'all thought y'all were hot. Shit.
They were all a penny. We ordered 37 of them on TCG Player at 2 a.m. one night, Logan and I. For some reason, I forget why. We bought an entire Source collection. Anyway, there's no topping Kira Vendors. Let's go into the villains now. Vraska. Yes, but no. Yes, currently on a villain, right? Because of Phyrexia oil.
Villain, neutral, hero, now villain, okay?
Okay, so villain, neutral, lover, hero, Phyrexian? Is that the...
Always a lover.
Always a lover?
Is there such thing as a, like, good Phyrexian?
Currently, no.
Okay. Currently, no.
No, there's... The way Phyresis works, it just there's a big discussion on... there was actually an interesting discussion on the Reddit not too long ago where someone was talking about Phyrexia would only be evil if it wasn't forcing people into it. Or it's only evil because it's forcing people into it. If it didn't force people into it, it wouldn't be evil. And that's like... Sure, the Doomsday Cult isn't necessarily evil, but they do want you to kill yourself. Like... So, I don't know if I buy that argument, Chief.
Yeah.
But, okay, so favorite villains. Let's go by individual characters and not talking about, like, the extra-planar threats. Obviously, Nicol Bolas is a fantastic villain.
I was immediately gonna say, we forgot Ugin in the heroes. Well, is Ugin a hero? I don't know.
Ugin is a hero, but
I'd say Ugin is. I like him, so he's a hero to me.
He's your favorite planeswalker.
That I've played, yes. Justice for Dak, we'll get there.
Your favorite Planeswalker card that you played.
Oh, yeah. Ugin Spirit Dragon with the
Sprite Dargon.
Just absolute love. But individually...
I don't know what all he's
Tezzeret,
done.
probably. Yeah. Well, okay. So Nicol Bolas spanned like 20 years though. So like, there's a lot of ways to kind of weave him through. He really had the main arc around of the Gatewatch, like going in. Well, when did Bolas start becoming like the main villain of the story? Really, like what set did that kind of start at?
Bolas has been a
ever-present
sort
force.
of villain. Yeah, he's been a sort of villain in the storyline since he was introduced in Legends.
Yeah.
So like he has been around for almost 30 years at this point.
Yeah, but when was he when did he start being the main focus? That wasn't just Amonkhet, right? I know Amonkhet like really got him in the spotlight, but like I feel like it was Battle for Zendikar because he helped lead to the Eldrazi's getting out, right? Is that correct?
He really started being propped up as a big threat that we need to be aware of constantly with Alara.
Okay. Mm-hmm. He wasn't that set, that's right. I forget that he was on Alara back in 2011?
No.
No, 2008.
2008.
So, yeah, 2008. Why did I think 2011?
2009? I don't know.
I don't know.
I was a child.
Either way, the Alara storyline started bringing in Nicol Bolas as like a main villain to pay attention to in the present day. But the first storyline where he was like the main villain was the Umezawa storyline on Dominaria. The first time he died.
So what was the set? So it went Amonkhet, Ixhel, Dominaria. Is that right? Like block? Am I missing any?
No.
Because that's the first time I really...
That's correct.
Because, newer to Magic. I mean, newer... What year did we play? Jesus, Ethan, we've been playing for 6.5 years.
Only 6. We started Aether Revolt.
Still. He's just been, like... It was those sets where, like, he was the... It built up to War of the Spark, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, basically, from then on to him being the big BBEG.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know he has some influence with BFZ, if I'm not mistaken, with the Eldrazi getting out. Is that am I making that up?
No, he was part of the original Zendikar storyline. Not intentionally, but he is part of the reasons why they released.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember why Bolas wanted to
do
something with the Hedrons, but whatever.
Yeah, I forget what his reasoning was, but he convinced Nissa to let them out, if I'm not mistaken. Is that... Am I just making shit up? Or
no, it's... So, if I remember exactly how this went, Sarkhan was on the plane trying to enact Bolas's will. There was a fight that occurred in Ugin's Nexus, or Ugin's Sanctum? Ugin's Sanctum, where the big Hedron was. And Chandra cast Ghostfire, which was Ugin's spell, and that was the trigger that unleashed the Eldrazi, because it undid the Netric.
That's why Ghostfire was a special card. It was Devoid before Devoid, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what happened to having them be released. Of course, there was already issues that we knew about, but with the like security of the Hedron alignment networks, but that's from stories we got afterwards.
Yeah. Speaking on Sarkhan, though, I know was he tricked by Bolas, or did he willingly work for Bolas? Because he's a hero, quote unquote, nowadays, right?
Sarkhan is an interesting character. He is very neutral right now.
Okay, because I was wondering where he's been ever since World of Spark.
We don't know where he's been with
that was
Spark.
Edgar that was getting married. That's right.
Yeah, Edgar got married.
Yeah, not Sarkhan. No.
Not Sarkhan. Yeah. Yeah. We don't really have a big story as to, like, Sarkhan hasn't been a major player in any story since, realistically, Khans of Tarkir. He has...
Yep.
Yeah. He was main character of Khans of Tarkir, but beyond that, he just hasn't had influence. All we know is that he and Narset still hang out. But I don't know if they have, like, an actual relationship or a budding relationship or whatever, but... yeah.
Could I bring up a villain?
They're mutuals. Yes, absolutely.
Are slivers considered villains?
I said we'll keep to the extraplanar threats later.
But slivers are cool! When are they back? The spaghetti monsters? I know.
Okay, extra planar monsters. Let's go.
Well,
right.
I kind of want to piggyback off of Nicol Bowles first and say Tezzeret. Like Tezzeret, I think is really dope. But like, where the hell is he at now? Because he was working with Jin in Kamigawa, right?
Was he not completed?
No, he's okay. So,
Actually's here.
He has a side story at the very end of the Phyrexia All Will Be One story.
Oh.
The basic information to know, because this is stuff we've known about this since before All Will Be One. We'll get into All Will Be One in a second. But he has been working for the Phyrexians because the planar bridge that he has now put into his body is slowly killing him, and he needs a new body. So he's been trying to get a Darksteel body.
You know who can help with that?
Oh.
Yeah, so he's been doing all of this for the Phyrexians so that he can get a Darksteel body. But he has been working with Urabrask and the Rebellion to try to stop New Phyrexia.
So he's playing both sides?
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Huh.
Tezzeret, as a character, has always been self-interested. He does not care about anything else. But he absolutely will not permit New Phyrexia, particularly those who continue to slight him within it, to live.
What plane is Tezzy originally from?
Alara.
Yeah,
okay.
That was his first set.
Yeah, he's from Esper.
Yep. Tezzeret the Seeker was the first.
Oh yeah,
they
they were machine humans, right? The Esper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Like you got Brea and all that stuff from
Brea,
Esper.
Esper Sentinel.
Yeah, that's also again talking about like cool lore things, right?
Yeah,
like
why is Brea with red? Esper's, obviously not red. Why? Explain that one to me.
She's corrupted,
okay,
please.
Kind of. It's actually it's a very interesting thing. So I'm probably going to butcher the names of these, but when you are on Esper, the main metal that everyone looks for is Ethereum. Mm-hmm. It's very highly sought after, limited resource. Esper does not have a way of creating more of it, so they have a very interesting society that's built around the rich and powerful having Ethereum bodies and doing everything they can to use Ethereum, and you have the lower dregs of society who are forced to scrounge around and look for any scrap metal that they can to survive. This is Tezzeret's origin story, by the way. He was one of these guys.
He was an urchin, is what you're saying?
Urchin is perhaps too polite of a word that they would use. They do not think highly. They have a very rigid social hierarchy in Esper. So Ethereum is the metal that they cared about, but they had no way of producing more of it, and they don't know where it comes from. With the convergence of Alara, they found more of it on Jund.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, so Sarcomite I believe is the name of the metal that is on Jund, and Sarcomite is Ethereum. Brea found more of it and implemented it into her body, so now she has a mixture of Ethereum and Sarcomite.
Oh.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep. So that's Brea's story, and unfortunately that's all the story we have for Brea. I wish we had more.
For her being like one of those popular commanders, yeah, we know like she's got a metal body of two different of metal that was found on another plane or another shard of the same plane.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Favorite commander. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, she's really, really cool. There's a lot of characters. Like, I think it's very unfortunate that a lot of characters in the Magic lore get like one paragraph and that's all we have on them.
Yeah. At least Atraxa has more now.
Yeah, Atraxa has a legitimate actual story. The Ixhel story in Phyrexia All Will Be One talks about Atraxa some. So we'll get into that in a minute.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yes, we will get there when we get there.
So,
but like,
were you going to talk more on Brea?
No, I was going to say, because, a lot of stories don't get a lot of information, there's a lot of characters that end up falling flat.
Jason, would you like to go first, or may I take this?
Oh, sure. Fuck Tybalt.
Oh, yeah.
Tybalt's a character who actually has some decent development on him now due to the Kaldheim storyline, but his character's shit.
Yeah?
Like, I know I know a lot of people love Tibble because he's, the goofy trickster character who just keeps failing. No, he's a sadistic asshole who revels in utter torture. His whole origin story is that he was a torturer who experimented on people and eventually merged with devils who kept taunting him to do it and go further and further and explore pain even more. Like, Tibble's a fucked up dude. And his character is just, oops, I failed. That's it. That's his whole character at this point.
You just can't understand his quirkiness, Jason.
Clearly, I can't.
He's too quirky.
Doesn't matter how many of the stories I read with him in it. He's just...
it takes a high IQ to understand Tibble.
I'm not like other planeswalkers.
Speaking of other planeswalkers, we talk about how they massacred my boy, Dak Faden.
He fell flat because he's dead.
Ethan, would you read the note that I put after Dak Faden?
So in the notes for this, I added Dak fucking Faden, and then Cameron added he deaded right behind him.
He
deaded. Tell me how you bring up the greatest thief in the multiverse.
Yes,
that was just his thing. Shrouded in mystery, one card printed. Tell me why the fuck they kill him off in a trailer for World of Spark. Don't even give him a card. You just see his body going lifeless. And it's all it is at the beginning of the trailer.
Isn't it one of the goobers too? It's not even like anybody notable.
It's like a skeleton.
Yeah, it's just that one of the goobers. The zombies.
He died. Yeah, he died to a Lazotope soldier. That's it.
The greatest thief in the fucking multiverse.
I mean, Dommy
and he's
Ray died
offed
too.
by no-name Jim down in like the 2nd Battalion. Like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. I'm still his design's so cool, and it had so much hype. And playing Legacy and like seeing him is like, I want to know about this character, and they just fucking kill him off like that.
All right, Ethan,
I'm still mad about this.
Who should they have killed instead of him?
Anyone, literally anyone.
Give me a name.
Do you want me to actually say who
give
I
me a
think
name.
Should have been?
Give me a name.
I don't know, but like he could have had. Why kill him off that way? He just didn't need to be there.
Instead?
No one. It wasn't even in the story. It was just at the trailer. It had no purpose. It was gratuitous violence for gratuitous violence.
They should have.
At least I got fucking Phyrexia or something now. Like, give me another card. Like, I would have taken him in Phyrexia and getting to like go steal shit from like other whatever shit. Like for the cause.
I don't believe Dak Faden is from Theros, right?
Where's he from? I don't even know that.
Yeah, I don't believe because because Gideon died, but he still got to go to not Valhalla. That's Norse, but like
you know what? Let's just.
I can't remember where Dak's from. Is he from Mercadia?
Oh, that's
1 second. Where is
Dak Frame?
I think he's from. I think he might have been from Mercadia. I know where he got his. Oh, he's from Fiora,
a village on the plain of Fiora.
Oh, okay. So he's from Fiora, which is for anyone who's unaware, that's the plane that the conspiracy sets are located.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
he's dead.
He's from there. I know the whole hand dyeing thing occurred from being caught on one of the planes that 1001 Nights is from, or Arabian Nights. Which, fun fact on that one. Actually, let me go into this because we didn't talk about it here, but world building. World building for Magic is very, very good.
Yes.
Like, they may not handle the individual characters particularly well, but they handle the worlds immensely well. Like, I had no interest in 1001 Nights until I started, or Arabian Nights until I started learning more about it. So, really cool thing about how that plane is set up and why this ties into Dak Faden. Arabian Nights in Magic is actually 1001 planes that overlap with each other.
Huh. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, can I say, there's an entire fucking page on the wiki about Dak Faden, and none of it's in cards. They just have the one Planeswalker for Conspiracy, and that's it, and that bothers me.
He just hasn't been depicted in cards for much of anything because they just don't want to give him cards for some reason.
Well, they're not going to anymore.
No, clearly.
I don't know. Dude, they've brought back people that shouldn't be brought back before.
Yeah.
Elspeth?
Elspeth?
Hey, her card had Unearth or whatever it was.
Escape.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not unearth.
We remember that mechanic from Legacy.
Underworld breach moment.
Uro moment. More so the Uro moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, getting on to small characters again. Like Uro has no fucking lore.
Oh yeah, he Titan.
There's so many characters like that, especially in the Legendary Matters sets. Where it's just like, yeah, this character exists.
I mean, we could also like that'd be a different episode probably. But now that like didn't legendary characters back in the day used to like matter more?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah.
Well, kind of. When they were first introduced in Legends, they didn't matter worth a damn. They had no lore or anything
Lady
to
Orca.
them. But
Lady Orca.
Yes, Lady. Quick, who did Lady Orca kill?
If I know.
Angus McKenzie.
Oh, that's pretty important.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
important.
But it's on the flavor text on her card. That's it. But world building, right? The worlds on Magic are really fucking cool. They find a good concept to work with on like what if this plane, but artifact? Okay. Well, how many different ways do we want to do what if plane, but artifact? Right? So you got Argentum, which became mirrored in a new Phyrexia. You have Kaladesh, which has always been a big plane on artifacts and how it works. Dominaria has had multiple areas where artifacts were just so prevalent. I mean, Dominaria is probably the plane where artifacts
Tolarian Academy,
big
right?
history. Oh yeah, like the academies at Latinum, Tolarian academies. The whole Brothers' War is just a big mech war. So like artifacts have mattered so deeply on Dominaria.
Getting the mech Mishra.
And by extension.
That was funnier than it should have been. That's so much funnier than it should have been.
But yeah, like,
Phyrexian Dragon Engine.
like, give me some, like, what are some of your favorite planes that we've been to? Ethan, I know you love Kaladesh.
I mean, it's where I started. I have a deep affinity for Kaladesh. It's kind of the thing like a plane I really care
So
about.
when this, let me give it kind of might be a hot take at the moment. When the set first came out, I thought it was Poopy Dukes, but we talked about this, not Ixhel, I'm sorry. That was Poopy Dukes. Amonkhet. Amonkhet is sick as a plane. After going from
awesome.
Jason was like telling us about Amonkhet, and it's like some of the lore behind it. Like, and when we were talking about favorite villains, Ethan said Tezzeret, but I thought he said Hazaret, and I was like, yo, a fellow
Hazaret's
Hazaret.
not a villain though. Hazaret's a hero. Well, Hazaret.
Are any of those gods? Are any of the gods heroes on
Hazaret.
Hazaret
absolutely
hero.
is.
Okay, well,
Yeah, Hazaret absolutely is.
I don't remember the lore. I just remember that like it was really cool. Like
Bantu decided to side with Bolus upon his return when the second sun set, right? Or second sun, whatever.
Okay, let's get brief lore rundown of Amonkhet. Desert plane. Death is a natural component of life on this plane. Things will just die and then resurrect instantly. You had a weird little line. It was very cool talking about a mother elephant or something just dies out in the desert and is resurrected and the baby just walks along with it. Like, life on this plane, zombies are a natural thing. They're not exactly evil, but they exist. Noctamoon, the city that we follow in Amonkhet, is ruled by 5 gods, one for each color of magic. It used to be 10 gods, but when the mending happened, Bolus knew that he was losing his power, so he came to Amonkhet, killed 2 of the gods, corrupted 3 of them into the insect gods that we see, Scarab God, Locust God, and Scorpion God, and converted the other 5 into followers that just serve a purpose. They're cogs in a machine he wanted an army.
Yep.
Something that would help him regain his power later. So over the course of 70 years, they have been slowly built,
that was the trials, right? That was the point of the trials.
That was the whole point of the trials, to find strong candidates for an army that they would turn into the Lazotep zombies. The 5 gods that existed on this plane still did not realize that they were serving Bolus or for what purpose they did it, except Bantu. Bantu was never corrupted and knew what was happening and aligned willingly.
It'd be like that.
She wanted power, and she was betrayed.
Wow, what a surprise.
Bolus betrayed.
Bolus?
Yeah.
Bolus? being a dick? What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Amonkhet's one of my favorite planes for this reason. This is an extremely well-built plane and a very cool idea. All right, what do you do with an Oasis City? Well, make it serve Bolus in some fashion.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, to kind of push back against Cameron, though, Ixhel is a cool plane. I think the setup for Jace getting there was cool. They may have, like, fumbled a little bit, but the stories, if I remember, Ixhel were really good stories.
So, Ixhel was cool. I was more thinking... what came to mind for me is I remember that was one of the first sets that I like bought boxes for and stuff. And like as far as like cards go, it was poopy. Like you get unclaimed territory. That's the only card I can recall.
What?
The
How
flip,
dare you
flip
not know our Lord and Savior Colossal Dreadmaw?
Oh shit!
See, best set ever because the Colossal Dreadmaw. Also, you
we
have
got it twice.
We got it twice. So we have Search for Kanta. You have Garnas of Illimok.
We got more pirates, which is cool. Like that is a set that pirates started being.
Admiral Becca Brass, like,
and we're going back late next year. Or
yeah, I do think they chose.
Year?
Yeah, we are going at the end of this year.
Okay, it's the end of this year.
Pirates,
end of this year,
dinos.
or the beginning of, or the first
pirates,
quarter
dinosaurs,
of
and they have cool vampires. Their vampires are only Orzhov, and that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say, again, world building wise, they did a really cool job with Ixhel. They just executed on it very poorly.
Also, Azor was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which is
this is
hilarious. This is hilarious to me because Ixhel has really, really cool world building with its 4 main factions and how they interact with each other. It has some cool environments and things that we could go and do. It has what I consider the single best story in any Magic set. And they just did not execute on making the world cool or showing the world being interesting.
That was I don't read the lore that often. I do remember, like, I was dog sitting for a family friend or something, and I was laying in bed, and all the story had been released, and I read all of it because it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's when I talk about when I mentioned Vraska is the most dynamic character in all of the Magic lore currently, at least of the existing characters that we care about. It's because she went from assassin villain to advocate of the people to captain of her own crew and a very forgiving person of Jace for not just killing him on sight, to developing a relationship with this character over the months that they spend together on Ixhel, to lovers, but to also willingly have her mind wiped so that she could assume the position of power which she needed to hold over the Golgari, working for Bolus, but then becoming an ally of the Gatewatch and now a full-fledged member, even though it's...
Where's my oath of Vraska?
Yeah, and then we don't have an oath for her or something like that, right? And then now she's completed, and that hurts my soul.
Well, there's a couple of them that got completed.
Yeah, 6 of them.
Tameo.
Well, 6.
I forgot Tameo.
I don't know.
No, 5 of the main story, but...
Well, in the set, Tibble got completed. That was the jokingly 6th planeswalker.
Tibble got completed?
He's so useless you don't even see it.
Yeah. It's literally, there's like one card that depicts it, and it's like Tyvar killing him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Tibble's dead?
Probably.
Okay, Slowbad was dead, and he's alive. So, like, we'll see if he stays dead.
He is functionally dead for the time being. We are on Phyrexia, where mechanical parts are easy to come by and fix. So, yeah. But yeah, like, man, the Ixhel story is so good. And also, Yahenni's story.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move into this. You gotta talk about Yahenni, because it's your thing.
God, I love Yahenni. Going back on talking about Kaladesh. Kaladesh is another setting where the world building is incredible. Story execution could have been a little bit better, but Yahenni's storyline is 10 out of 10. Because Aetherborn are awesome. They're a byproduct of Aether refinement on this plane, so they just kind of exist. And they only live for 2 years, and they're emotional empaths, naturally inclined towards emotion-based magic. They live fast, die hard, awesome characters. Yahenni. I love Yahenni. They're great. Because they're just a character who's at the end of their life cycle who slowly learns that they're a vampire who can actually steal the life from people and they go through a whole moral conundrum of whether or not to use this ability.
That is really cool.
Is it worth killing a random person for a couple more days on this Earth? It's only a couple of days.
Oh, really?
I mean, the body count adds up.
Chunk?
It adds up quick. But because of that, Yahenni became an asset to the rebellion because...
Kill the bad guys.
Kill the bad guys. Kill the
consulate, yeah.
Yeah, kill the consulate bad guys and continue onward. But even then, through all of that, Yahenni comes to the conclusion it is not worth it to snuff out other people's lives to live on and chooses to die. In a fucking party, because that's how Aetherborn rock.
Aetherborn are cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Kaladesh as a plane. It has a special spot in Ethan and Ice Hearts being the first plane that we interacted with.
Artifacts.
Yeah.
Artifacts.
First
That's
planeswalker
I
I pulled was the Ajani from that one.
I pulled the Tezzeret. I tried to
That's
use
right.
that in a
We were a
draft. I
draft.
didn't know how to draft.
We were a draft, and you pulled, pulled Tezzy.
And it was so bad. I would like 0-2 drop and I went back to the dorm and I said, this sucks.
You do pack one, pick one of planeswalkers still in draft normally, though, Ethan. You got that part right.
I got that part right, but then I did not know how to do anything else. The other 44 picks, garbage.
Happens, right?
Yeah.
But alright. The other thing is, we talked about a little bit of this, like, story is generally good, but you guys don't actively read the story that much. What's your general opinion on it?
Okay, so I know it ebbs and flows because you had like Amonkhet, Ixhel, Amonkhet Wise was like really great, and then you had War of the Spark book, and we don't talk about War of the Spark book. We don't talk about the Chandra Nissa retcon. We don't talk about all the things they've fucked up since. But overall, they have a lot of great high points, and there's a reason why it's stuck around for 30 years, and they still put effort towards the story.
Yep. I more or less agree with Ethan. Like as I said, the last time I read was Ixhel, and I got to read a really cool story from Ixhel with the Jace and Vraska stuff. So, and I remember reading about Azor and like the Immortal Sun, and they went to like the lost city. That was it, the Lost City. Yep. Yeah, all that was really cool. But like keeping up with it mainly through Jason, there are definitely some interesting snippets I hear about the story. So, and as Ethan said, they're doing something right.
Yeah. I think one of the best descriptions I can give of the Magic story, it is incredibly good from a summary standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a very good description of it.
Yeah. It's once you get into the details are not fleshed out particularly well. One of the things I want to talk about in terms of like not fleshing out details particularly well is the end of the Dominaria storyline, the one from 2018.
Okay.
Right. The Dominaria storyline itself was actually quite good. You know, Liliana struggling with things and Gideon working together. It was a pretty solid storyline. Her finding her place and trying to figure out how she wants to interact with the Gatewatch overall. Nissa choosing to leave. That was interesting stuff. The main problem with it, and really the only big problem with it, is literally the last, 2 paragraphs. Because Jace shows up.
Hey, Jace!
And Jace just came back from being stuck on Ixhel. Where he's come through this big realization of how to work with people that he's worked with before and overcoming differences and how you can... This whole thing he's learned coming back from working with Vraska, right? Somebody who tried to kill him. And he just shows up and goes, "Sup, fuck you, Liliana, this is what we're doing," and leaves. Like, that's it!
Neat.
Seriously?
Jace. Yeah. I mean, wasn't there jokes about like WotC having to insert Jace in everything ever since he appeared?
Yes.
Because he's the poster boy.
Yeah. Jace's character was considering what had literally just happened leading up to this point, and then we get to the end and we've completely thrown away the characterization that we have just built an entire 6 months building up.
This is back when we had 2 sets per block.
With where we're at here, let's talk about another storyline which kind of fell flat at the end. With the Phyrexia all will be one story.
I have so many questions about this.
Yeah, Jason, you're our font of knowledge, so go off, Queen.
Yeah. So let's start off with who's our main cast on this one. So we have our 10 planeswalkers, and we have our 5 praetors. And I'd also add in that Melira is a relevant character, but we'll talk. She's not that relevant overall. All right, so we have our 10 planeswalkers who are Jace, Koth, Nihiri, Nissa, Kaito, the Wanderer, Tyvar, Vraska, Luca. Did I miss anybody here?
That sounds like a number close to 10.
That's close to 10. We'll work with that. All right. Obviously, the big storyline is we have these 10 planeswalkers who are trying to fight against our new Phyrexia and the Praetors, which people are generally aware of them, but it's Elesh Norn, Sheoldred, Jin-Gitaxias, Vorinclex, and Urabrask. The important thing is Urabrask is a traitor and is working with the Resistance, more so in a sense of allowing their existence and not enjoying Elesh Norn's rule over New Phyrexia. So, talk a little bit in the side stories, but they don't consider the Mirrans and Urabrask's faction as allies. They're comrade in arms for this one situation. So, the story, just a general quick run through of what happens here. So all 10 of the planeswalkers attempt to planeswalk onto New Phyrexia, only to discover that a planar shield has been implemented, which causes them to arrive in the wrong locations. They don't all arrive together. So our story starts with Kaito the Wanderer and Nihiri together, as Kaito wakes up from the hallucination that he is in because he's on some sort of dream shore on Mirrodin. I know, on New Phyrexia here. Nihiri is fighting off a Phyrexian beast, and the Wanderer is helping a little bit as well. Immediately in this, Nihiri gets a cut.
Oh.
So, we are immediately stuck with the horror movie trope of zombie bite, don't tell anyone.
Oh. That's how they make Nihiri go out? Seriously?
It's, okay. It's actually more interesting than that, though.
Okay.
So we'll get into it. Eventually, they find they find other Mirran forces, and they make it to a camp where eventually they meet up with Jace, Tyvar, Koth, Kaya, also Elspeth. Elspeth is involved in this too. Nissa, Vraska, and Luca do not make it to this camp, and they don't know what's going on with them. So the story they decide we're going to keep trucking on. We know what we need to do. So we're going to go down to the seed core where Mirrodin is spherical and you can progress down the levels. Gravity is weird in this plane as well. So there are little gravity wells to jump between them. They've dug a hole through some of them and using some of the gravity wells to get them down to the Dross Pits, which is pretty far down but not quite there. The Dross Pits is Sheoldred's realm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then what they need to do is they need to get down to the Fair Basilica, where Elesh Norn's realm is, then further down into the Myconsyth Gardens, which Myconsyth is just basically a fungus that turns things into artifacts, which is cool.
Okay.
And then the last thing they need to do is get to the Seed Core, where Elesh Norn has built a bastardization of the World Tree from Kaldheim called Realmbreaker. And Realmbreaker's whole purpose is to be a bridge into other planes without having to rely on Tezzeret. Tezzeret can only take a couple people with him at a time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they lose all their fleshy bits in the process.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this is how they're staging their invasions of other planes with Realmbreaker. And they have created a version of Urza's Silex to go and blow it up. They don't know how it works. They just have a general idea of how it's going to get there, and they need to blow up that tree so that Phyrexia is at least contained.
Okay.
All right. So, first thing to note here is when we get to this camp, everyone's all hyped up, ready to go. We're going to go down there, and we're going to get this taken care of. Melira does notice that Nihiri is infected. Melira is capable of curing Phyrexia because she is immune to it, but it takes her days to do this.
Okay.
So she offers Neyali, do you want to get healed right now? But it means you're not going to be there. Neyali is the oldest of the Planeswalkers here, and everyone recognizes her as the most powerful.
Okay.
She is not somebody that they want to leave this mission. And Neyali is aware of that. So she chooses to stay on the mission until the end. Okay. Even if it means risking her life to do it.
That is cooler.
That's why I was like, zombie bite, don't tell anyone. Okay, at least it's kind of interesting. All right. So, Urabrask and the Mirrans stage a rebellion. You have Sheoldred, who is also helping on this rebellion, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah. What? Sheoldred's realm is... The Dross Pits actually has 7 rulers, who are 7 different Thanes. Geth is one of them.
I was going to say Geth is a Thane.
Mm-hmm. So, Sheoldred is just the most powerful of the Thanes, and she has general control over the Dross Pits. But the Dross Pits are not all aligned with each other, and Sheoldred definitely does not like Elesh Norn, so she's helping with the rebellion. This is her power move to try to take control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Once we do get into the Dross Pits, we learn some sad news. Jace also is gonna become Phyrexian here.
Oh.
Here's what happens. When they get down into the Dross Pits, Elspeth gives the Planeswalkers a little bit of Halo, the magical substance from New Capenna, which is made from angels. Giada is currently Luxior, so Luxior can produce it. Her sword, I should say.
Okay.
Elspeth's sword can make some Halo for them to drink. So they drink Halo, and it is not only good for resisting the effects of the poison that is in the Dross Pits, that's just misty Phyrexian oil. You breathe that stuff, you will become Phyrexian eventually. So the Mirrans are not happy to be down here, but they have to do it anyway. And it also, when you drink Halo, you get a huge power boon. So Jace gets a huge power boon, and he hears Vraska's mind reach out to him. And realizes, oh, she's in the Dross Pits.
Oh no.
More specifically, he goes a little bit haywire and goes straight for Vraska to try to free her from whatever she's stuck in. To which Kaito gives the excellent line of, I'm going to paraphrase it here, but I don't like this idea. I've had bad ideas that typically don't involve getting everyone killed. Jace has particularly bad ideas.
That's pretty funny. That is funny.
Anyway, so Jace runs straight for this, for where Vraska's at, and she's stuck in a Phyrexian arena trying to fight for her life. They bust in trying to save everybody, and it is quickly revealed that Vraska is putting on a show, saying, "Oh, I'm going to become a Phyrexian. Don't try to stay for me. Run, go, do this." No, she's a Phyrexian the entire time. And the second that Jace comes up and tries to save her, she just goes, "Oh, cupcake, stab."
Oof.
And from there, Jace now realizes he's on a timer. And he is the one who is supposed to be setting off the Silex. Yeah. So, they need to now rush down into the Fair Basilica, fight their way through, and get to the Seed Core as quickly as possible before Jace becomes a Phyrexian. And during all this is a big fighting arena. There were Phyrexians all over the place, and they've been trying to fight their way out. Neyali, realizing that her time is also limited, decides, in a moment of heroism, to destroy the entire Colosseum that they are in and crush it into the Fair Basilica below them.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a risky play, but it does work out. They make it down there. They don't seem to lose any of their numbers, aside from no one knowing where Neyali went off to. So they proceed through the Fair Basilica, make their way into the Myconseath Gardens, and, of course, there is one last roadblock in the way.
Of course.
Where we are met by a Phyrexian Ajani and Tybalt. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tybalt doesn't have a card, but he's a Phyrexian now. So, obviously, the two characters with beef with these two enemies, being Elspeth and Tyvar, each have a 1v1 with the person they're fighting against, while the rest of the team splits off to go down to the Seed Core. During their fight, it's not too eventful overall. The important thing to understand is Elspeth does beat Ajani. It's a hard fight, but she does win, and Tyvar, for the most part, doesn't have too hard of a time with Tybalt. It's a little bit tight, but he manages to throw Tybalt over the bridge, and you hear a very satisfying crunch, apparently.
So does Elspeth actually kill Ajani, or...?
Incapacitated. Not killed, just incapacitated.
Gotcha.
So all the while this fighting was going on, you have Kaito, Jace, and Kaya, and I believe Koth as well, or did Koth split off at some point? I can't remember. They're down there, and it comes to the realization that Jace is not certain that blowing the Silex will not cause other planes to collapse in the process. Because the Realmbreaker has already reached the other planes. It is already functional.
Mm-hmm.
And that causes Kaito and Kaya to both now believe that they shouldn't set off the Silex, because it's just going to put too many other planes at risk, and that trying to fight a fair fight against Phyrexia is a better choice for some reason.
He's been corrupted.
They're not Phyrexian. We know this. This is the thing that kills me in the end of the story, is suddenly the idea that we're willing to blow up Mirrodin and risk that entire plane. And the Mirrans were willing to accept this risk in the process. They straight up asked, is this likely going to destroy our plane? And Jay said, I can't guarantee it won't. And they're like, all right, we're doing it anyway. So, Mirrans, you the real homies. Kaito, you a bitch. So, yeah, they try to stop Jace from activating the Silex, like they have some time to discuss this and figure out what's going to happen. And Jace uses everything in his power to activate the Silex without them realizing it. He succeeds in activating the Silex. And in the moment of him doing this, Elspeth had just finished her fight with Ajani, sees that Kaito and Kaya are disagreeing with Jace for some reason, snatches the Silex out of his hand, and seems to throw it into the Blind Eternities with herself.
What?
Why?
What?
Yeah, I don't get it. We went through this whole mission only for our lead cast to decide at the last second that it wasn't worth it anymore. And Elspeth didn't have this conversation with them. She was completely separate from it. She just saw this and goes, that bomb that we came down here to try to set off, I'm gonna take that.
Bye. Oh my lord.
What is this?
I don't have
an explanation. Elspeth is just a
I'm just kind of at a loss right now.
Yeah, honestly, I enjoyed the storyline except for the last, again, it's the last sentence here. Like the last page fucks the whole thing.
It seems like a pattern, Jason.
Yeah, I know. It's like, why not blow the thing? Or better yet, why not just make it so that they don't succeed to begin with?
Yeah, you could literally have them fail, and
hey guys, how does a Phyrexian Silex sound? That sounds fucking terrifying.
It does.
Just let them have it.
Who's ready for the Phyrexians to win March of the Multiverse or whatever?
I mean, they're gonna lose.
Yeah, I was halfway. Let's kind of halfway hopeful. Mm-hmm. Everything's Phyrexian in Magic now. Get used to it.
Yeah. For real, the main storyline was very, very good, except for that. There's also one other thing, which is Luca royally fucking up in the way that only Luca can.
I didn't know Luca was a screw up.
Luca's whole character is him being a fuck up.
Okay, so he's like Tybalt, but slightly better?
Yeah, there's also a good reason that he's Phyrexian now. To give you the idea as to how dumb Luca is, the first thing he does when he gets to this plane, or basically the first thing, he finds Nissa, because they happen to be together on this. And they get attacked by a Phyrexian beast. Luca's whole magic is basically empathy with beasts, right?
Oh, I think I heard what happens here.
Yeah, he just mind links with it. He's just like, I know how to solve this problem. That beast, valuable asset right there. I'm gonna take that for myself.
Yeah.
And of course, when you link up with a Phyrexian monstrosity and your minds are melding together, his mind starts leaning a little more towards Phyrexia.
A little?
So, over the course of this whole damn story, we just keep hearing Luca suddenly changing the mission or doing things that are pushing him more towards Phyrexia. The initial goal that they were aiming for was to get out of the Hunter's Maze, which is Vorinclex's realm. They wanted to try to get up to Urabrass's furnace lair above them. But they couldn't do it. Or they weren't finding a way. When Luca linked up with that, with this Phyrexian beast, his mind suddenly changed the mission from go out to go forward. And he walked straight to Vorinclex. Now, I will give some credit on this where it's not like, mind linked up, just being mentally linked is what made me Phyrexian. But he trusts the stupid beast, right? And when he asks the beast to help him with jumping over something, it shoots tendrils into him underneath his skin. Yeah. So that it holds him to the beast and they jump over. And there's your beginning of phyresis. But he wasn't against the idea necessarily of getting stabbed by the monster because he was fine with it. Luca fucking up in ways that only Luca can.
Luca doing Luca shit.
Right.
Yeah, no, he is the reason that Nissa became a Phyrexian. He decided, yeah, you know, we see Glissa and Vorinclex dueling each other, having a fun time in their fight. Yeah, we can totally 1v1 these. We can 2v2 this. We can do this. You and me, Nissa, we got this.
They didn't. Spoil it. They didn't.
They did not have this.
They did not have this.
Midway through the fight, he finishes his phyresis and just turns on Nissa.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So, like, Luca, you fucking dumbass.
Why do they ever trust Luca?
Luca volunteered.
That's probably more than other people did.
I can volunteer to go drive a bus. Doesn't mean I'm certified.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you need people who are willing to take a dangerous mission. The reason they trusted him is because he's ex-military. And they felt that a commander would be useful. But Luca's a dumbass. It doesn't matter that he has military experience. He's just stupid.
A goob.
Math checks out.
Yeah. And the other thing that I did really like about it is I mentioned before how we had a side story for Tezzeret, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Tezzeret's side story was actually really cool. It's very simple. It's, I have now gotten my Darksteel body. Newsflash, it's Darksteel on Mirrodin given to you by Phyrexians. Guess what? It's about to become Blightsteel. Yeah.
That one checks out.
Yeah. So he manages to escape from Jingataxis. Because also the Phyrexians were aware that he was betraying them.
Oh, yeah.
So they were like, okay, well, we'll give you what you want. We're just going to make sure it's Blightsteel. We're going to amend the agreement just a little bit.
I've altered the deal. Pray
Yes.
I do not alter it further.
Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about it is, with that story, he immediately has now started planeswalking to other planes, and one cool thing is it confirmed some old storyline stuff. The Infinite Consortium is still canon in Magic lore, which is cool.
What is that?
That is Tezzeret's organization of basically interplanar or multiverse planeswalker contractors of various not so good things.
Okie doke.
Gotcha. So
Jace used to be a part of it, as was Liliana. Mm-hmm. The other cool thing is it confirmed, is her name Beatrice or Baltrus? I can't remember. I think it's Beatrice. That was another character from older lore who kind of got retconned out, and now we're like, oh, Infinite Consortium is real. Jace's history with Tezzeret still confirmed. Cool. Jace used to be a significantly worse person. Good to know. That's still canon. but he's jumping between safe houses and trying to get resources. He runs into Nashi on Kamigawa.
Okay.
The rat.
The rat.
Yeah. He slaughtered all of Nashi's village.
Oh.
Ah.
Yeah. Nashi works for... Nashi is Tamio's adopted son.
That's right.
So, of course, Nashi's like, where's my mother? And he's gonna and he just gives the line of, you will, when you see her, and you will see her, you'll wish I have killed her. So, yeah, that's foreshadowing, unfortunately.
That's rough.
Yeah, there's a decent chance Nashi just dies to Tamio at some point. But in addition to that, Tezzeret finds his way back to his old home in Esper, and he is just in time to see the beginning of the Phyrexian invasion.
Okay.
So we already know that the Phyrexians have started their invasion, and they are in droves on Alara at the minimum right now. So he's doing what he can to fight against this, but he's also doing everything in his power to protect himself because he's Tezzeret.
This Tezzeret.
It checks out for Tezzy.
We might see a Phyrexian Tezzeret soon, though, so that's cool.
That would be cool.
I anxiously awaiting.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, none of the completed Planeswalkers really care about artifacts, do they? Currently.
Yeah. Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Not for time being.
Cameo? Her journal? Not really.
Yeah. And there's like 3 more side stories to talk about very quickly. The other cool one is Teferi's side story, which is when we last left Teferi in the Brothers' War, he was in an unsure plane of existence currently. He didn't know where he was. He was just naked on a beach somewhere. Like,
He vibing.
like, I don't know.
He
I
vibing.
don't know where I am, but I'm coming out of here. And it turns out that in all the meddling and messing with time and things that he did, he has now accidentally phased himself into Zhalfir.
Oh.
His home, yeah,
That he,
his
like,
home country.
That he yeeted off the face of the earth, right?
Yeah, the one that he's spent the last, 1,000 years trying to bring back onto the plane. Yes.
Okay.
So he's now there, and it's just cool to see his reaction to all the consequences of his actions and how the people react to him being there. Because this is the same people that they haven't aged hardly at all.
Oh, it's been in, some kind of time limbo.
Yeah, they've been in time limbo. For them, it's been, a couple decades,
Okay.
I think they said. Even though it's been, I think the minimum number is 500 years. It may be 1,500 years since this happened. So, yeah, it's the same people, same queen, same country. He meets the same Sidar that he spent a lot of time with.
Okay.
Also, the Wanderer ended up on the plane.
Wait, the Wanderer ended up in Zhalfir?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, so Wanderer ended up on Zhalfir. Zhalfir is just like, hold on, we have no idea who you are. You are definitely not a Dominarian. Cool thing about Zhalfir is whenever they put somebody in a prison, they lock them in amber. So they found the Wanderer and immediately was just like, grab her, locked her in amber. Bit of story that's relevant here. Oh no, why am I forgetting his name? No! What's the name of the... Karavek. Karavek the Spiteful, right? Karavek was also locked in, and when Teferi arrives on the scene, the prison is on lockdown because Karavek has somehow escaped.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, Karavek's a returning character who probably shouldn't be returning, but that's gonna be neat. He has a brief moment where he gets to talk to the Wanderer before she phases out, but that confirms that Zhalfir is accessible via planeswalking. Somehow, it is accessible.
It's just hard to get there.
Mm-hmm. But they have been preparing for these last 2 decades for the Phyrexian invasion. You know, the original one of Dominaria, unaware that we're on a new one.
Oh!
That's funny.
Oh!
That's interesting.
Okay.
So, Teferi comes in and is just like, well, you guys don't like me and you're going to punish me for crimes, but just as a heads up, there is another Phyrexian invasion that we're worrying about, so glad you're ready.
Another one? Well, the first one hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm. So there's a decent chance that Zhalfir may not actually make it back onto Dominaria, but it will be accessible via Realmbreaker.
Yeah.
So, problem solved?
Solved. I'm not sure that's the wording to use, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, story seems okay.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on right now. It's Magic's Infinity War, it seems like.
Absolutely, and we got Wakanda Forever about to fucking drop on people with Zhalfir. It's gonna be great.
But there's a lot of characters. I'm excited to see who, like, how... I don't know if this next set's gonna be larger than normal sets, but I'm excited to see who all they bring back.
Yeah. I'm curious if we're gonna get more... Well, obviously we're gonna get more Phyrexian Planeswalkers, but I'm curious who they decide to bring in.
Better not be Saheeli. If they Phyrexianize Saheeli, I'm gonna riot.
That would be interesting.
I will punch you, Cameron. I'm not gonna...
Phyrexia.
They already stole my one blue-red Planeswalker. They steal the other one that I care about.
You still have Rao?
They steal the other one that I care about.
Caring matters.
Like, okay, so I know Saheeli helped out with Brothers War with the Time Machine to go back in time to watch Brothers War for Teferi. Where was she now since Brothers War?
Trying to do everything she can to get Teferi back.
Is Teferi like in current like where the story's at one of the more powerful planeswalkers?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not only by his age and experience, but also just the magic he uses.
Time magic.
Yeah, time magic's OP, man.
Is he one of the only time magic goobers at this point?
There's others, but none as successful as he is. I can't give you a specific time mage, but I can give you characters who have some experience with it, like Joda.
Okay.
Yeah, Joda knows the basics. I don't know if he knows how to do it in great detail, though.
Teferi is the master of time.
Whoa, Cameron, you did the thing.
I did a thing.
He said the movie title in the movie. He did it.
I did it. I have succeeded.
All right, that was one side story from the most recent set. What are the other two you want to mention, Jason?
So, I figured that people would be interested in this because these are the precon commanders. And unfortunately, I will say that Neyali and Athari do not have particularly interesting backstories. These are the red-white, like, rebel and token double strike commanders. Neyali's just a resistance fighter. She's a small leader in her community. The only thing that was interesting in her story is it features Slowbad, and it also features a one of her band's people choosing to embrace Phyrexia. Choice is a very relative term here, as it's kind of just like, I'm so depressed of this situation, I give up. Yeah. So that was the interesting. And then Athari is her phoenix. The Mirrans raise phoenixes, and they're a symbol of freedom and resilience. So they use them. They also use them for combat, but yeah, Athari's just Neyali's phoenix. That's it.
Okay. I don't recall there being a lot of phoenixes from Phyrexia or from Mirrodin.
There's always been some. Okay. Like Kuldotha Phoenix, but...
Sorry, it wasn't Arclad. I don't remember it.
It's fine.
Fair.
It's not my Phoenix.
Yeah, the far more interesting story is Ixhel's story. Ixhel is Atraxa's second in command, designed by Atraxa to be a perfect soldier / or arbiter of her will. Ixhel is not supposed to think for herself. She's a Phyrexian angel who is just supposed to follow and be another one of the cogs in the machines of Phyrexia. She is told you are replaceable. Give yourself up if you need to. Like, that's it. She's eventually sent to go assassinate Geth, because Geth keeps causing problems for Elish Norn.
Yeah.
And through her encounter with Geth, Geth makes her realize her desire for being an individual, actually, like, having real desires that are not just serving Phyrexia. She's starting to develop a will of her own.
Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And the first thing that she does when she gets... Well, she does a couple of things before she gets right to it, but once she kills Geth, she takes his head and other parts of his body as well, but mostly his head, kills one of Geth's henchmen that had been annoying her on her journey here, and uses their parts to create the other legendary in that precon, Vishgraz. Vishgraz is a little bit corrupted by Geth's will. He's keenly aware that Geth is part of his body, and Geth's unusual tendencies kind of seep into him a little bit. But when Ixhel presents Vishgath to Atraxa, Atraxa rejects Vishgraz in entirety, thinks of him as a monstrosity, and also is very upset with Ixhel for creating something on her own. She's not supposed to have free will. She's not supposed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So she orders, Atraxa orders Ixhel to dispose of Vishgraz, and instead of killing him outright, she doesn't understand her emotions of the situation and the relationship that she has with Geth now. She doesn't want to kill Vishgraz, so she just drops him off of the dross pits.
Okay. So is Vishgraz going to assume the Thane position left by Geth?
Probably not.
Okay.
I can't imagine. Vishgraz... I don't know. Vishgraz has intelligence and certainly recognizes himself. Like, he has free will. But I can't say that he has the same ambition or interests that Geth has. Because Geth had multiple screws loose.
Oh, Geth was a goober?
Yeah, like, he had multiple screws loose in terms of being a Phyrexian, and then he had a whole lot of screws loose in terms of being a normal person. So, not sure that Vishgraz has the same tendencies that Geth will have, but it's interesting that he exists.
Okay.
But yeah, beyond that, we've got March of the Machine coming up. We got some new planes that will be revisited and new characters that we're going to see, advancements in the storyline. All right, we had that promotional art that shows like Kyrie and Baral, Borborygmos, Chandra, and Asika all charging together.
Baral? Let's go.
Baral. Mm-hmm.
Chief of Compliance Baral?
Yes. It seems they let him out of prison.
I did not recall seeing this art. Jason, you need to send this to me later because I need to get giddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll show you that later. So we know that we got multiple planes that are going to be interacting with each other in different ways. We also know from the new Atraxa card that battle cards are coming up.
Yeah, so is that replacing Tribal?
Did they just not put the big old keyword on
so,
there?
like, quick rules aside, that Atraxa card, can that not get Tribal off of, for each of its types? Like,
I believe it can still. I don't know.
Even though it's not listed?
I know they said that they don't put keywords on if it's not relevant for the standard set. It's something I've read online somewhere. But it seems kind of weird that they wouldn't include it if they included one that's not even
so if you
yet.
Played Tarfire, you could choose Tribal for it instead of Instant.
Yeah, so I do know that there's a tweet from a WotC employee who works on rules who does confirm that Tribal is still a type for the time being.
So they may do away with it?
Said for the time being.
Yeah. We're not sure what's going to happen with it. I don't know, honestly. I have a feeling that it's no longer...
Tarmogoyfs? They're going to nerf my Tarmogoyfs out from under me.
Well,
but you're adding battle. It's still the same.
Yes, because I own Tarmogoyfs. That's the real joke here. Is I own Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah.
No, I don't own Tarmogoyfs. I don't play Jund. I'm too poor.
Do you think Tarmogoyf is played in Jund anymore, Ethan?
I don't
Please,
know.
we have Ragavan.
I haven't touched Modern since like before the world ended with Rona. Like,
Same.
So I think I'm going to cut us off here, let Jason rest his beautiful little voice. He's talked a lot today, expressing his great interest of Yahenni. Love you, Jason. Love you, Cameron. Really appreciate getting to do this with you guys this week. And thank you all so much for listening/watching this episode of the Wrinkly podcast. If you like seeing edited EDH gameplay videos, we have our main channel, SmoothBrainEDH. We upload every Saturday, so don't forget to like, subscribe to that, and to this channel. If you enjoy the content, you want to let us know what you think, give us a comment. If you want to talk to us directly, we have a Discord. Link to that is in the description. We do have a Patreon. We have a lot of great supporters there. Hopefully, I'm going to ask Jason to put the list of our patrons on here as well, just because I want to give an extra little shout out. That's a little bonus for them. So we have merch on Redbubble as well. All that in the description. Please check that out. This has been Ethan, Jason, and Cameron. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.